Welcome to the Mind Fuck Podcast. Yay! welcome once again, my friend. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. My name is Wanu Aleshe, and sometimes I do go by Amazing Soul. This is the Mind Fuck podcast, and FCK stands for fun, compassion, and kindness. On the podcast, what we essentially talk about is nervous system regulation, inner child reparenting, showing ourselves compassion in the process and on this journey, and how to feel safe and trust our bodies more. But most importantly, along the journey, always sprinkling some, fun in there. We're very, very, very also big on fun on this show. So we also have like a little tradition that we do on the show. Right before I, get into today's episode, I always read out a list that I titled Reminders to Being Human. Essentially, the intention behind reading this list every time before the show is to remind myself, and also remind you in the hopes of reminding you on your own journey. All right, let's get into it. Reminders to being human. Have fun along the journey. Show yourself compassion. Be kind to others. Being complex and being simple can hold true in the same breath. Stay curious. Hold space for pauses. Hold space for not knowing. Never underestimate the power of silence. Nature has a lot of wisdom. Pay attention. There is power in we than I. If nothing else makes sense, come back to love. Pain is our greatest teacher. And the very last one, never underestimate your ripple of existence. Welcome once again, my friend. Now let's get into the fun part of the show. All right. Today on the podcast, I want to talk to you about something that happens quietly inside all of us. Something that most people don't even realize is happening. I mean, it's the difference between when your body opens and when your body closes. Not because you decided to, but because your nervous system did. Sometimes curiosity opens a window, and sometimes protection builds a wall. And the strange thing is this, both of these responses are trying to help you. Neither one of them is wrong. But the way we move between those two states can shape how safe we feel in the world. And I want to explore this with you in a very human way, not from a psychology book, not from complicated language, just from everyday moment you and I both recognize. Because once I started noticing this in my own life, I began seeing it everywhere. Okay, let me start with something very simple. Imagine you walk into a room where people are talking. Maybe it's a gathering, or maybe it's a small event, or maybe it's even a coffee shop where people are sitting close together, right? Now, as you walk into the room, something subtle happens in your body. Your eyes immediately scans the room. Your shoulders shift slightly and your breathing changes just a little. You might not consciously notice it, but your nervous system is asking only one question in that moment. Is this safe? That's it. And depending on the answer your body perceives, one of two things usually happens. A window opens or a wall goes up, right? And me personally, have experienced both of this many times in my life. And I want to share a moment that made this very clear distinction to me. Now, there was a time I walked into a small gathering where I didn't know many people. The moment I stepped inside, my body became very aware of itself. My posture changed, my chest tightened slightly. My mind started doing what the human mind does very well. It started scanning. The thought going through my mind was, okay, where should I stand? Do I know anyone here? Am I supposed to say something? Those were the thoughts going on in my mind. Now, here's the interesting part. Nothing bad happened while I was in that room. No one had said anything to me, but my body had already started building a wall. Not aggressively, not dramatically, just quietly. It was building protection. And that protection makes sense. Your nervous system is built to protect you. It remembers past experiences. It remembers moments where you felt judged. It remembers moments where you felt misunderstood. It remembers moments where you felt awkward. It remembers moments where you felt unwelcome. So sometimes your body builds a wall before anything even happens, just in case. That's how the nervous system works. But curiosity, on the other hand, does something different. Curiosity opens a window. And I learned this in a very unexpected moment in my life. One day, I was standing in line at a coffee shop. Very normal day, nothing special was happening. And the line was moving slowly. As usual, people were just looking at their phones, the usual human scene, right? What we normally do when we're outside. And the person in front of me turned around and made a simple comment. They said something like, this line is moving slower than unusual. This line is moving slower than usual today. It wasn't profound, it wasn't deep, but something interesting happened. Inside of my usual quiet, protective posture, something else happened. Curiosity showed up. I responded and we started talking. And within 2 minutes of us, talking, we're laughing at about something completely random. Nothing life changing happened in that moment, no. But something small did happen inside of my body. A window opened, and that window felt different than the wall. And the more I started noticing these small moments, the more I realized something important. Safety is not something that usually arrives in one big dramatic moment. No. Safety often grows through very small, everyday experiences. Tiny windows, tiny openings, moments where curiosity quietly interrupts protection. That's when safety comes into play. For me also, I had to learn this the very slow way, especially after, I left the military in 2022. And right up to then, my nervous system had spent years in an environment where alertness was necessary. I mean, we made fast decisions, there was constant scanning, there was pressure, there was responsibility, right? It came with the role. So when life slowed down for me back then, something strange happened. My body did not immediately relax. No, it actually stayed guarded. And for a long time, I thought something was wrong with me. I was like, why couldn't I just relax? Why is my body still feeling tense even when nothing is happening? But over time, I've started to realize something very important. My nervous system wasn't broken. No, it was protective. My nervous system had learned to build walls. And walls, my friend, take time to soften. Curiosity, on the other hand, helped me start opening small windows again. And these windows didn't come from big breakthroughs. No, they came from everyday moments, very ordinary life moments. I'll give you another example. You know, when I used to take a lot of walks, I still do. There was a period where I started like taking very slow walks. I mean, no destination, no goal, just walking, feeling my feet on the ground. And one day I noticed something small. A group of ducks on a lake doing their thing. Now, I know this might sound like a very simple moment, but something interesting happened in my body the very first time I noticed this. Instead of thinking about, okay, my to-do list, or instead of replaying some past conversation, my attention moved outward. I became curious. And I stood there for a few minutes, just watching the ducks move across the water. My body softened lightly. That's a window, my friend. I'll give you another example. Sending a text message. This is something that we all experience, right? You send someone a message, right? And then silence. No reply. And if you're a human being, your mind might start doing what the mind usually does. It starts to fill the silence. And the thoughts may be, okay, maybe they're ignoring me, or maybe I said something wrong, or maybe they're upset with me, right? And the story goes on and on and on and on. Protection begins building a wall in that moment. I mean, your chest starts to tighten, your thoughts start spinning. But curiosity, on the other hand, can create a small window here too. Curiosity might ask a different question like, what if they're busy? What if nothing is actually wrong? Now, the moment curiosity enters, your body softens slightly, not completely, but slightly. And those small moments, those small shifts matter, my friend. Now, this is something I personally have been slowly learning in my own life. Protection builds walls when the body senses uncertainty. Curiosity opens windows when the body feels safe enough to explore. And the key phrase here is safe enough. Not perfectly safe, safe enough. Because perfect safety doesn't really exist. But safe enough moments happen all the time. Do you see? Tiny ones, small ones, everyday human ones. They exist all the time, right? I'll give you an example of safe enough moments. Maybe you notice it when someone smiles at you unexpectedly. Maybe you notice when a stranger holds the door open. Maybe you notice when you try something slightly outside your routine. Now, those moments might feel insignificant, right? But to your nervous system, they are new information. And new information helps your body update what safety feels like, right? Okay. Now, for me, I've been experimenting with this in my own life in very simple ways, like parking my car in a different spot, walking a slightly different route every time I take a walk outside, starting a conversation with someone I normally would not talk to, even brushing my teeth with my non-dominant hand, right? Tiny things. But these small experiences that I've done over time started to introduce curiosity. And curiosity gently interrupts protection. Do you see? Now, here's something important I want to point out. You don't have to force curiosity. If your body feels guarded, that's okay. Protection is not failure. No, no, no. It's your body's intelligence. Your nervous system learned that for a reason. The goal here is not to destroy the wall. No. The goal is to slowly create windows, one micro moment at a time. Sometimes curiosity looks like asking me simple questions, right? Sometimes it looks like noticing your breath. Sometimes it looks like pausing when your chest tightens and saying, interesting. My body's protecting me right now. That awareness alone can soften the wall. Now, one of the biggest things I have learned through my own journey is this: safety grows through repetition, not intensity, not dramatic breakthroughs, repetition. Small windows, again and again and again and again. Over time, my friend, your nervous system start learning something new. Like, maybe the world is not always dangerous. Maybe some moments are actually okay. Maybe curiosity can exist alongside protection. It's a balance. And if you're listening to this right now, my friend, and recognizing yourself in some of this moment, I really want you to know something. Nothing about this process needs to be rushed. Your body moves at the speed it trusts. Sometimes slowly, sometimes very slowly, and that is okay because every small window matters. Every moment of curiosity matters. Every time you pause, my friend, and notice what your body is doing in real time, you're giving your nervous system new information. So maybe today, you don't need to tear down any walls. No, no, no. Maybe today, the only thing worth trying is opening one small window. Just one. Maybe curiosity about your breath. Maybe curiosity about a stranger's smile. Maybe curiosity about your own thoughts. And slowly, very slowly, your body might begin realizing something new. That safety is not a distant destination. Sometimes it begins with a very small window opening in an ordinary moment of your day. And if that happens even once today, my friend, tell you now, that is already enough. As always, I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you for listening. And I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Thank you.